Thanks, Hamish. I'll talk a little bit about where it started for me. So at about 18, I was in my flat at uni, and I read a book called Waking Up, Overcoming the Obstacles to Human Potential. And I was doing that because, because I wasn't going to lectures, because I really felt like a machine, and I was a little bit sick of it. So I read this book, and it described how people had become automated. And I thought, shit, I'm automated too. Second thing was I looked around at the VCR and a couple of things in the room, pretty old, I'm 32 now. And I thought, hey, what's going on with technology? I don't know, but it's going to change the world. So I got on the Yellow Pages and rang up 5 companies in Christchurch where I was at uni, and there were Kiwi companies that were multinational, and said, can I volunteer and jump into your IT department? Did that for a little while, got paid absolutely nothing at all, and continued going to student loan. That was one big event for me, and I'll see where that fits in afterwards. So when I left there, I joined an entrepreneurial firm in Wellington, doing an energy management system that lowered the amount of energy used by big commercial industrial buildings. So the 2 guys that founded it were both sitting there in shorts and a t-shirt when they interviewed me, and I was up at management consulting interviews up in Auckland at the same time, and I was like, I'm going to take a punt on these dudes. And I did. And they had 12 people at the time, and they both had families, and I wanted to travel the world, so we had no sales at that point in time at all, offshore. So by 21, I was on a plane, and we were going around Malaysia and Singapore and Thailand, and back through Australia trying to get our first sales on the board. And I am not a business development person, and despite the fact I'm wearing a pink shirt tonight and speaking quite loud, I was shy. I was actually a little bit shy. So I was traveling around the world as this international business development guy, and I was learning step by step. So I was running on pure passion, just absolute pure passion and raw emotion for what I'd seen back here, which was that New Zealand has to change our game. The step I missed out probably was that just after that book of Waking Up, I kicked the TV over and I've never turned it on again. So that's 11 and a half years ago. So I decided I wanted to see what was really going on in this world. And I looked at New Zealand and I saw the banks owned offshore, I saw our media owned offshore, I saw most of our large companies owned offshore, and I wondered why that was the case. Did this happen by mistake, or has it been happening for a reason? And it's very clear that New Zealand has been an easy target. And if in the capitalist world, it's very simple to look at a country like New Zealand and grab it and just buy it. Because you're smarter, you're faster, and New Zealanders are running around having a pretty relaxed time while this is happening. And I was like, shit! You know, I'll get my beach house, but I'll be living next door from the States. And everyone down the road were the same, and Kiwis be living inland, you know, stuck in these little burnt-out cities. And I was like, this is not a vision of the future I'm really into. So I'm running around the world now, back on these planes, trying to sell shit, and I'm a little bit shy, so it's pretty hard. So I'm going into meetings, and I'm really trying to hold my own. At the same time, going, fuck, are they going to buy off me? Why would you? I mean, but then I got over that confidence barrier, and I realised that we've got some cool stuff going on here in New Zealand. It's like, I'm going to sell you some product. And once I got the first sale, second sale, third sale, we got $1 million in sales in Australia in the first 12 months. And I did that by getting really, really focused, finding these 2 guys who had a budget of $100,000 a month before they told their boss. And I knew their boss would shut everything down. So 95 grand a month, just feeding these $95,000 invoices. And at the end of the year, we had $1 million in turnover. And that was 25% of this little Kiwi company, and we'd got up to 30 staff. We were running low on capital at the time because we were growing quite fast, so I had the benefit of jumping on the plane with the CEO again, this time and going around the States. We did 7 trips around the US over 18 months, securing investment banking capital, which did not succeed in 2002 and 3. We were in the energy sector, doing energy management, so about saving money, saving the earth. At the same time, really strong economic argument, and we were a technology company. At that point in time, the bubble had happened, obviously. No one wanted to invest in technology. And in the States, nobody cared about the environment. Let's face it, it just was not on the radar. So we had the wrong proposition. But it took about $750,000 to know that we had the wrong proposition. So we got a New York investment bank. You know, we've been traveling around 6 roadshow trips, seriously, around the country, just meeting bank after bank after bank, coming back at night time, changing our PowerPoint slides, and going back the next day and hitting the streets and repitching. And had no idea how to do that to banks at all. We were just purely just taking on a bit of coaching, going, yeah, cool, go, let's hit these meetings. And with the 3rd trip, we were pumping. It was all good. And then finally, we got a bank. We were walking down the street in New York. We didn't have an umbrella. There are no eaves in New York. You probably know if you've been there. Just fucking saturated. And we cruised in, and me and the CEO in the room just patting ourselves down, looking at each other and like, well, this one's over anyway. We just might as well cruise in. Nothing to lose. And we got them on board, and we thought, this is great. So we did a high five and carried on, had some great experiences around New York. Came back to New Zealand 6 weeks away from running out of money, 43 staff at that point in time. First time I'd ever seen the CEO and the founder of the company. He walked out of my hotel room in New York, and I looked at his face, and for the first time ever, he looked weak. And he'd never projected weakness to me, and I felt a little bit shaken by that. And then I realized, that this is it, man. This is it. The weakness in him or you, it's your choice. You got to hold each other up here. That guy is 10 years older, but he's depending on you. You've been for 2.5 years pumping his business. You've grown it through Australia. You've got some work going on in Asia. now you have to bring some money in, and you're in this journey with them. So I decided to prop up at that point, and that really kicked me out of my shyness entirely at that point. And we obviously pitched the bank, so I was getting better. But I'm talking out. You got to be right out there. You should have no fear at all. And so I did. So we came back to New Zealand, and we'd been a bit cheeky. So we'd been selling to a company in Australia, which was a parent company of an energy company in New Zealand. And we were trying to get an investment from a New Zealand company, and that worked because we'd done our work in Australia. So we came back 6 weeks to go, and finally we got $11.2 million worth of capital into that company. And that was a big move for this business, and that's continued today, and that company turns over about $9 million. Cool New Zealand business, and it's growing away. I started my company on the back of that. For the first time. I was in debt at that point in time. I was earning about $60,000, and I'd been using my personal credit card while I was traveling the world because I thought that was the right thing to do to protect the capital of my small business that I was involved with. So, so I started in business, and I was consulting, helping other companies go global as well. It took about 9 months, and I'd saved up about 200 grand, which was, it's a big chunk of cash at that point in time. I thought that was pretty good. Built my first piece of software, which was a complete blowout because I developed far too much and far too wide. Hit the wall, lost my girlfriend at the time, 2 all in one. I was like, oh, this is a good life test, man. You feel that? You feel that? And I was like, yes, I do. So jumped straight back into the next business. I actually buzzed Rod Drury, who's started Xero since then. I just buzzed and reached out. And I developed a product on a very small budget that didn't work. And I just reached him and said, mate, I have got the next big thing for you, bro. And he's like, come down to a cafe. So anyway, Rod helped me out into another business. We got into that game. Moral of the story on that front, I've been parallel entrepreneurial basically, just running. And I haven't been a good CEO, and I haven't been a great manager, but I've been a really passionate entrepreneur. And I've known that at some point in time I'm going to crack it. I'm going to find the formula, I'm going to find the right people, and it is going to work. And I'm going to be there for those days. I'm going to have a bit of a smile and a chuckle with the people around me. So bringing me forward to now, we've got to with 90 seconds. So how have we got this business going? It's been going for 16 months. I'll give some numbers. I'm quite big on numbers now after losing a bit of money. This company turns over about 60 grand a month, so that's just, $750,000 a year. Very, very small business at this point in time. Just out of the micro stage, and it's still very much in startup, you'd say, after 16 months. We've done about 1,000 videos. We make web videos that basically turn visitors into customers on websites. Really, really clearly defined product. Really, really clearly defined market. We have a 27-step production process for producing videos. I'm creative as hell. And I love producing films. I've personally directed over 200 little videos myself. But you've got to productize this shit if you want to compete. So we've done that. I've gone in, I've been the commercial guy, I've been the productizing guy, and then I pop back out and chuck on a nice shirt or a singlet and go, sweet, I'm back to being me. But that's worked. That's worked now. So now we've created a system, and we've created a bit of technology to farm the work out. We have a 7-person production team, but we also started working now in Melbourne and in Sydney and in the UK, and we're following our global vision, which was there from day one, which is there is a few global trends we're playing on. One is that 82% of people will click on a play button if they see it on a website right now, which means if you've got a video there, you will get an audience that someone else will miss out on. Second thing is that the price of electronic equipment and hardware around HD footage is going through the floor, evident by most of you who have a phone in the room which can do that in capability. And the third thing really is that talent is everywhere, popping out of unis, popping out of tech, and they're struggling to get into a film industry which goes like this seasonally, and an advertising industry and TV which is in decline, finally, to my liking. So I want a home for these young people. I want a home. I want a home I want them to build little businesses on the back of this business. I want to have a network of crowdsourced people around the world who are working to grow this business. Not because I want to own everything, because I think we can go out there and we can sell hard and we can build a global business. We can bring pounds, dollars, euros, yen, the works back to New Zealand. So where we've got on that journey so far, like I said, 1,000 videos, how we got going, people like Kathryn Wilson. I basically grabbed 3 guys out of uni and did a deal with the uni to use their equipment for 3 months, well for 4 weeks, but it turned into 3 months. And went out there as a video business and went to people like Kathryn and a bunch of other cool New Zealand brands and said, hey, we're going to do some video for you for free, and just figured out how to do it. After a while, we had some cool case studies. So I went out there and told everybody, hey, look at what these guys have bought. We've just got 42 Below Huffer and Kathryn Wilson as clients. We're pretty hot shit. And they were like, yeah, they're cool customers. They are cool. So they started buying our product. So we spun the business out in February of last year. Today is the last day of our 16th month, so much like Jamie and Stolen Rum, about that far through. We've got sales in Melbourne and in Sydney. One of the ways I've used the Kiwi network is I have a business in the UK that gets people biking to work. That's one of the several ventures I've kicked off along the way, which has worked really well, this particular one. So my business partner, who is a Kiwi, lives in Bristol. We've got 7 staff around the UK on a completely different business. But what we have is, and this is what Kiwis do have, I think, is we're passionate people. And we're deeply trusting in each other. And so as a result of that, we've been able to enter into a new business together and start a joint venture with 90 Seconds with a Kiwi in the UK. And it's a really strong way to build a business. And I've talked to Jeff Ross several times, as well as Justine Troy, and they both, as they speak through Every Bastard Says No, get out there and use the Kiwis. And that's what Care is all about. And they've built a fantastic network of Kiwis. Kiwis will connect, they will share. And at the moment, the Kiwis around the world, they want an opportunity. They want a revenue opportunity. They want a business opportunity in their local market where they have knowledge and expertise. So the vision here in terms of where we're trying to go, we want to have an ignited network of Kias around the world who are setting up these little joint venture businesses with 90 Seconds, have a deep passion to set a public company up in New Zealand, whether it's 90 Seconds or the next one. At this point in time, you'd be an absolute tall poppy chopper if you didn't say it was going to be this one. It's going to be this one. We're going to build a public company and we're going to get capital off the public of New Zealand and bring them into the story. And it's going to be risky and it's going to take a while, but we're going to have a success. So in terms of short-term plans, we just want to nail Australia and we should be able to get Australia as big as New Zealand within about 4 months. Met my business partner here through the network as well. Classic example, another Kiwi entrepreneur, vibing off each other for a while, running a co-working space, introduces me to his mate. He comes on and starts selling. We've just built a relationship. We sell. Then he comes into the business, and now we've got 2 passionate Kiwis running a cool New Zealand business. And it was really, really inspiring to turn up in Melbourne last week, and we've never been over there and done business with 90 Seconds. We turned up, we'd contracted a couple of guys, just like our global model says we can do, 2 really experienced video professionals, never met them at all, just met them over Skype video. We turn up to the event, we've won a job at, which we also run online, and there they were setting up shop, and they ran the event the whole day, and we were just there passively as owners, going out there and networking the hell out of the place, getting more business, which we've done. And that was really inspiring to think we can actually build a very cool global business online right now from New Zealand. We have every intention of being placed around the world, but I think really, really proud to have headquarters back here in New Zealand. So thank you very much for your time today. I know I'm very fast. Cheers.